You are welcomed on behalf of Union of the Baltic Cities Cultural Cities Commission, and as well on behalf of Kaunas Artist House, in where we are today, and we will spend a few more hours. Today's schedule is really simple. We will have lots of very interesting presentations and practical discussions ranging from 5 minutes to 2 hours. We will have some breaks, and we will have lots of beautiful people from all around the Baltic Sea region. And today we will start with a presentation from Gdansk city. The presenter will be Agnieszka Tokarska-Wycek. She's a culture manager at Gdansk City Hall, and she will present the case of Gdansk, where the city becomes, in a city, the culture becomes the catalyst for city's development. So welcome, Agnieszka.
I plan to come here and start with the question whether you have been to Gdańsk, but I see a couple of people from Gdańsk, and the question seems to be a little bit not proper. But all in all, I will ask you whether you've been to Gdańsk or not, or have you visited the city, or yes? No. So you have to. I strictly recommend to visit Gdańsk, to visit Tri-City, and to visit whole Pomorskie region, because it's beautiful and for me extraordinary as well, and I will try to show you why. So we start with the slide, culture as a challenge. I agree with Ruta before on the beginning of our conversation that I will talk about how culture catalyzes the cities, or the how it's changing, but at the same time, the same moment, I was working on some documents that summarize the culture policy in Gdańsk for the last 30 years, and I realized that if I want to talk about catalyzation through the culture, I have to move myself back and lead you a little bit back to the past in Poland. So let me start from the beginning. Gdańsk, as you probably know, is like medium-sized city located on the coast of Baltic Sea, actually Gdańsk Bay. Medium-sized, so it's got harbor, it's got airport, business center, and of course the wide offer of culture programs and events, which I will try to show you of today a little bit. And as I said, we have to move a little bit, so we have to move to the beginning of 90s. Because this year, actually, we celebrated 30 years of changing the government in Poland, the political policy in Poland. So 30 years ago, on the beginning of 90s, we became a democratic country. And Gdańsk somehow became also an independent local government, also became responsible for the culture policy and culture institutions. Things that were before led by the national government. And here you've got I think the most picturesque investment in culture of the last decade of the 20th century. This is actually the Philharmonic, Baltic Philharmonic in Gdańsk, located, the new venue located in the post-industrial building on the Ołowianka Island in the strictly historical center of Gdańsk. And this is actually not a municipal culture institution, this is regional, but Gdańsk as a local government, as a government, was also as a city involved in this investigation in culture. And we can show off that it was so beautiful and very well going on from the beginning, but it was not. So the 90s in Gdańsk, in case of culture and policy in culture, was full of demands. After years of communism, we have lots of historical heritage that needed financial subsidy, that needed restoration. We've been like a city which were hectic during the summer months, of course, because of the location on the coast, and quite calmed down and empty during the rest of the year. There were institutions, of course, with the repertoire. It was a strong culture environment, like alternative culture, like jazz music or visual arts, but not much related one with each other. I mean, institution culture with the alternative and so on. And it was like that, like just regular city, nothing special, at least non-recognizable as a culture center on the map of Poland. And the first step I think I recognized when I was looking to the past, preparing this document, was the celebration of Millennium of Gdańsk, because in 1997 Gdańsk was celebrating 1,000 years of existence of first document about the city. And I noticed that whole 12 months program was prepared on the base of culture events. And I recognize this as a first maybe kind of way of changing of thinking about the culture in the city. Right after this millennium, the mayor of the city became Paweł Adamowicz, who you probably have heard about. And actually, during his governance, during his leading, the whole idea about how the culture should be, about the culture policy and culture vision in Gdańsk should be lit, has happened. And the another step of changing was, of course, the joining Poland to the European Union. And what was changed, that the vision that Paweł Adamowicz implemented together with the team in the City Hall got the chance to be succeeded by the subsidies from the Brussels. And actually this picture, of course, is taken this year for the 15th anniversary of joining Poland to the EU. And after I was watching the picture, and I thought that it will be good to put it instead of two flags, Poland and EU, because it shows how the policy was implemented. You see seniors here and young people keeping the parts of the flag and the name of Gdańsk in the neighborhood. And watching this past 15 years, I was able to put ideas of two main legs or streams of how the culture was developing for the last 15 years. And first of all, what I wanted to mention is not investing in the infrastructure which was possible due to the money from Brussels, but what is even more important, I think, it was implementation of and creation of the policy, culture policy in Gdańsk. And here we have to move ourselves into the year 2008. And greetings for Ania Urbańczyk, who is here and who was personally involved in this project. And here it... This is pretty old video promoting Gdańsk candidacy to the title of European Capital of Culture. Gdańsk announced the idea in 2008 and also opened the competition for managers who will lead us through this application process. And the competition was won by two managers, Aleksandra Szymańska from Warsaw and Romuald Pokojski from Toruń, who came with the new bright vision of evaluation and implementing new ideas into consolidation and opening and development of Gdańsk culture environment. They created a team which was responsible of creation two applications. And unfortunately, we didn't manage to get the title, and we lost it with Wrocław, but we never recognize Gdańsk as a city which lost something, because through the years, the team, together with the culture institutions and the environment, non-governmental organization, artists, and so on, and of course the city hall, what was happened? It was creation of two documents, application documents, which later on were used as the core of writing the development strategy for the city, 2030 plus, where what was extraordinary, culture was implemented, noticed as one of the 5 areas, you can see it here, strategic for the development of the city. And culture was placed among public space, health, education, economy, so the most important values for the society, for the local society, and what was not possible before, what was not existence before. Culture was independent, and culture was only for the leisure. And now culture is recognized as a aspect of development of the whole city and the society. A year after came another document, also based on the application for European Capital of Culture and its operational program, where culture got independent chapter, culture and leisure. And this chapter shows 4 fields of targets. How should we proceed to get to the vision of the strategy in 2030, and together with the leaders that are appointed in the culture institutions, we yearly report the process of reaching those culture and leisure targets, which probably not so much visible, but they are. You can read it in the internet if you are interested. And I put also some picture on the top to show you off. It's also pointed by the operation programs. It shows the spectrum of the city and the main issues that city is based on, like investment, public spaces, health, of course, education, and show it how, and culture too, of course, and show how every of each is connected one to each other. So you cannot think anymore about the health independently, like health is health and nothing else. Culture works with health, public transport works together with health, and every aspect of the city is bonded one to each other. Of course, another main direction of development was investments in infrastructure and in culture generally. And here I pointed some important issues. Of course, we got for the last few years a few iconic new buildings, iconic not only for Gdańsk but for Poland. This is for sure European Solidarity Center, which is open social place for culture, not only, but also for social events. And also it gives the information and the knowledge about the solidarity movement, about the values of solidarity and democratic society. The other, and this is here, the foyer of the capital of European Solidarity Center, sorry. And this is actually also the office of Lech Wałęsa, who you probably heard about. This is the Gdańsk Shakespeare Theatre, a very interesting investment, because this is the first and the only probably drama theater built in Poland during the last 40 or 50 years. And from the beginning, it's not restored, it's not renovated, it's brand new. And this is actually the investment that we did together with the region. And we lead it together as some other also institution, but this is, I think, the most visible. Very beautiful building, awarded many times and recommended to see. Also, this is the venue of the festival, Shakespeare Festival in Gdańsk, which is one of the oldest brands, culture brands in Gdańsk. This is the venue where international Shakespeare Festival network was created. This is the venue where the ESRA conference, European Shakespeareology Conference, was taken. 2 times in Gdańsk, although the statute says that the one city can organize the conference just one time. And this is the place of the festival, which last year won Europe for 2 years ago, sorry, won the title Europe for Festival for Europe. So if you are in Gdańsk, you cannot skip the Shakespeare Theatre for sure, and European Solidarity Center. But this is not that the only 2 venues are interesting in Gdańsk. What I wanted to tell you, this is, for example, this left up corner is very good idea for the culture, for the work of art in the public space. Gdańsk is organizing Gdańsk Outdoor Gallery competition. And actually this is the picture of the regional train, which stops were planned by the Gdańsk artist Anna Waligórska. So those stops, railway stops, are included into the outdoor gallery program in Gdańsk. And Gdańsk is also, this is the Second World War museum, quite famous for the political reasons, but Gdańsk did not build the building, but gave the land to build it up. And of course, infrastructure is not the only invest that Gdańsk is leading. According to the strategy, according to the operation program and the application to European Capital of Culture, we collect also work of arts or support artists in creation. So for sure we have Ginter Grass here, Ginter Grass, Nobel winner, Nobel Prize winner, born in Gdańsk, bounded also very much in Gdańsk while alive. He is well known for his literacy works, but he was also sculptor and drawer, and this piece of arts you are able to see also in Gdańsk in the collection that is presented in the gallery. We have amber, of course, which Gdańsk is famous for. We have a brand of The Last Judgment by Hans Memling. This work of art is located in the National Museum in Gdańsk. This is also not municipal institution, it's regional, but we feel obliged to also talk about the Hans Memling, also to be interested in that work. And here you got the former shipyard land and the building of NAMUS, New Museum of Art, which will be open next year. And according to that plan, we will present it there. Also the modern art created by Gdańsk artists or inspired by Gdańsk. And these works of art are gathered in the collection that is called the Gdańsk Collection of Modern Art. And we have policy for the last 15 years, culture policy. We have investments in infrastructure in art collections. And we have one more thing which is, I think, very important to mention. But it's so daily and so usual already somehow that majority of people may not notice that, but it exists, and I think it's very much already connected to Gdańsk, back connected. This is heritage, musical heritage of Gdańsk. This is.
Gdańsk, Carillon, stolica Polski.
It's in Polish, but I can translate it. It's very easy that we are Carillon's capital of Poland. Why capital? Because Carillon, this is the instrument that consists only from bells. I don't know if you know it. It's mainly located in the city hall towers or churches and so on. It was very popular in Gdańsk. Gdańsk was well known for its tradition of carillons till the Second World War, which completely damaged that and stopped it. And 20 years ago, Mayor Paweł Adamowicz, together with some passionates about the Carillon music, gathered together and decided that we have to restore it. And for the last 20 years, Gdańsk was collecting instruments. We have 3 instruments of carillons now, 2 on the towers and 1 on the cart. So it's mobile somehow, and we can go with that instrument, with the carillons music, to the almost every district in Gdańsk and promote this music. 20 years ago, we began to collect the library of notes like music, Carillon music. We have a city carillonist who is playing the carillons daily, every single day, and teach about the carillon history and teach the musicians also how to play the instrument. And what is also very important, we order compositions. This is also very interesting, modern composition for carillons. And what is also very nice, that carillons accompany to Gdańsk every day, as I said. This is like normal situation that you walk through the city center, you hear the bells, hear the music of carillons. But it's also very important that we not, as a city, we don't have any anthem, but any particular piece of music that is bounded to the city. But we have carillons, and carillons are connected to every celebration we got in Gdańsk. Also the good one, the positive one, but also the very sad one, as in January happened, as you heard probably, our mayor was killed. And directly after all, the musician, carillon players and composers, they contact Museum of Gdańsk, which is responsible for the carillon in Gdańsk, and they told that they want to play some music for Paweł Adamowicz in the cities that got carillon instruments. And one of the composers prepared the music, and I think that since January, the piece dedicated to Paweł Adamowicz was played on every carillon in the world, which is quite astounding. Okay, so after carillons and after policy and after infrastructure come the calendar of the events, and this is only 9 brands I give you for the example, 9 completely different brands which are visible in the calendar, which we are proud of. Some of them are organized by the culture institutions, like Narracje, for example. This is very interesting casus of the Light Festival, which is present every year in different districts. Already this year will be 11th edition. Festival Jazz Jantar, which is very, very old. I think it started in 70s or 80s with some break in 90s and return at the end of 90s. We have Old Music Festival, Actus Humanus, Solidarity of Arts, which of course says about the solidarity of artists and the culture. FETA, it's Outdoor Theatres Festival. Gdańsk Book Fair, this is also a very interesting case because it's organized by the private company, but with such a good level of quality that that it's like the frequency of this festival, it's really high, and we are very happy to be a part of the group that is producing that also as a city. And this is I think one of our great proud. Like, we are very proud of that. It started also with the idea of European Capital of Culture, the European Poet of Freedom, organized by the City Culture Institution, because I didn't mention a very important thing, that we start the bid for the ECC title with the idea of freedom of culture, culture of freedom, because freedom is very much related to Gdańsk history. And thanks to European Poet of Freedom, we promote poetry among the society, I believe, but we also, we, like people who are organizing that, created a library of contemporary European poetry, which was not existed before in Gdańsk, and I think it's very valuable for us. 5 minutes, I think I will be shorter, don't worry. Okay, so next slide, because it's too much. Okay, apart from the great events, we have also programs as a city for artists and artistic group, and you can see like open studios that you can rent for good price, a local that you can use as a studio. We have competitions in literature, we have scholarships, education program which we create now together with the society and non-NGOs. We have reading development program, and of course we have 12 institutions which also organize programs supporting artists and culture creators. And this is actually almost the finish. This is Gdańsk generally. Thank you.